I hear the call of the stars.
G'day everyone, Duckville here. Welcome to a replay from the Korean ladder. This is going to be featuring my favorite player from Korea. That's right, Korea. Just be careful there. It's not my favorite player overall, but it's very close. NEXSickness. He is down here at the southern position on Shattered Temple. It is a match against a Terran player. As we can see over here is his opponent in the blue. This is, I believe it translates out to something like tobacco or cigarette. We'll go with tobacco because it sounds kind of cool compared to cigarette. I don't know, that just sounds like a weird word to me. It always has. But Sickness, of course, you've probably seen. I've done a lot of games of this kid. He is absolutely brilliant to watch, especially as a Protoss player. You know, you see a lot of Protoss players and they just do sort of simple, basic sorts of things, death balls, all that sort of jazz. But Sickness can do some fun things. We've seen carriers before. We've seen the odd mothership pop out. We've seen a lot of Warp Prism play as well. He does a great job with that. And of course, with the upcoming patch where Warp Prism gets a bit of a buff, we'll probably see a lot more players use that. And of course, we're going to watch this particular replay today where you can maybe get some strategies from Sickness about how to actually use a Warp Prism. I have had a quick look and I was absolutely amazed to watch this game. But as we can see here, he is scouting out to the left side and he is going to catch his opponent straight away. Going to be able to see exactly what is happening inside the base. He scouts out that no full wall off there for Tobacco. He's going to be just holding off with just a basic sort of wall at the moment here. Probe, unfortunately, not actually being microed too much by Sickness here. He finally catches it. Probably was having a bit of a, just a bit of a watch down here at this main. What he is doing is getting out a gateway pretty quickly there. We're going to get that done. The second pylon is on the way. We'll probably see the gas come up as well, just a standard sort of thing, although the gas actually, that's a little bit late to actually, in fact, he still hasn't actually got it. I'm a bit surprised here. It looks as if, there it is, he finally does get the gas, the assimilator planted there. In fact, grabs two at the same time, going for a very quick double there, actually getting it before the cybernetics core, which is something which I've actually seen my proper full-on favorite player Huck do a lot more these days, is actually getting the two gas before the cybernetics core. So we'll see how Sickness is going to play this here. He does have both of those done now. Does mean that you have a little bit less of a mineral income comparatively to where you would normally when you get the standard sort of assimilator timings, but he is going to have a lot more gas than he normally would. So he does have a probe still waiting up here at the sort of side part of the natural expansion. They're just being very sneaky, just hiding out there at the moment. Going to try and have a poke into the top of the base there. The Marines are going to be scouting out here and just are going to stop that probe from getting too far in. Not too much done there by Sickness, of course, not really getting in too far to actually see what was going on. Probably a better way to do that would have been to put the probe onto the mineral patch and then it can walk through those Marines with the mineral walk. A little bit of a sort of trick tactic there, but not actually utilizing at that time. Tobacco, meanwhile, is not actually scouted out where Sickness is. Obviously, he knows where he is now, but was not actually aware of exactly what is happening inside the base. A second gate going up here for Sickness, being very safe at the moment, just making sure that his opponent is not going to be able to do any fancy two-raxing or anything like that, which has been happening a little bit more recently. I've actually noticed myself on the Korean ladder, but going to be saving up a bit of chrono here, not actually using it on the cybernetics core. Going to be using that just to get the warp gate tech out in due time, but getting a lot of units out, which is a little bit different here. Getting two stalkers on the way. He does have a little bit more gas left over, so we could see there it is, a sentry coming out as well, and a second sentry queued up inside the other gate as well. So he's going to be, looks as if no probes are being made at the moment. He is going to sacrifice a little bit of economy for the time being. As we said, the chrono not being used on the cybernetics core, so I don't think this is going to be a kill push or anything like that, but it could just be interesting to see exactly what he gets up to. He does have this probe just putting down a robotics facility over here. As we've mentioned before, Sickness actually very commonly using Warp Prism, so I'm predicting we'll probably see something like that come out of him. But he does have three stalkers coming up to the top of the ramp, and he is going to be trying to push into the base there. He's going to take out some of those Marines. Not actually doing too much damage there, trying to lose, not trying to lose that extra stalker, just running away there. Good little bit of micro there from Sickness, actually keeping all of these stalkers alive. Great job. The Marines are now going to try and push out through the front of the base, but a sentry from the side actually just putting down a clutch force field on the ramp, enabling those stalkers to stay alive and then enabling them to actually take out some of the Marines. A couple of these Marines just left over will be able to help out with the defense at the moment there, but we'll see if Sickness is going to push up. He does have a, as we said, the robotics there. there. He's now pushing out a Immortal at the moment, getting a quick Immortal out there. So he is going to be ready to deal with anything there. I would not be surprised perhaps if we see some drops with Immortals. That would be something very cool to see from Sickness at the moment here. Trying to push up the ramp there. This is the difference of actually having this ramp vision here in the current patch. Of course, in 1.4, this will be a little bit different. You won't be able to do things as easily as he did there. But what he does have is an Observer, I think. Did I see an Observer pop out somewhere? No, I didn't. So he will be able to get some vision shortly. There it is, an Observer just popping out now. Got an Immortal, a Stalker, and a Sentry just sitting out here at the base, ready to defend. There is one SCV which has somehow just slipped inside the base, scouting out exactly what is happening here. Saw the Robos, saw the extra gates there, but now, while he's losing that SCV, just actually losing a couple of Stalkers out here at the front of the ramp. Actually not really doing too much of a micro job there is Sickness. He is going to try and push up the ramp, just saying hello to that SCV working on the bunker there, but which is going to really help out with the defense of this ramp. But just being very careful here with his units, really doesn't want to lose any of these Stalkers. You really want to try and utilize them as best as possible just to harass the front of the base here. What he's trying to do is keep the Terran from expanding out to this side base. In fact, we do see the probably that 111 style build is going to come out of Tobacco here. Is supply block for a moment, has now fixed that up. A Raven is on the way. The factory is prepared, has a tank out. A couple of those Ravens were out and ready to roll as well. But as we can see now, a Warp Prism is out from Sickness. He's got this just coming off to the side here, not being too worried about running inside the base. But these units, I think we're going to see a drop. This is going to be perhaps something a little bit like the drops we see from Terrans from time to time. Warp Prism now moving inside. He did actually see that the Warp Prism was there. A bit surprised he didn't come in and try and snipe that off. But now doing this elevated transfer, beautiful little move there from Sickness, just trying to move some of these units inside. Force fields being used there. Great force fields to block off those Marines, sniping out a lot of them. An Immortal is now in the mix here as well. There is a tank off to the side, but of course the Immortal will make quick work of that tank. In fact, there are 2 tanks now, along with the Stalkers. He should be able to do a lot of damage to those tanks. Losing some of these SCVs here, in fact, is Tobacco. Now has a couple of Immortals inside. The Warp Prism going to try and drop these off in range of those tanks, now dropping them off, taking shots at those tanks. Yes, there is an SCV. Is that repairing? No, it's not, but the SCV is trying to get into the battle here. Losing more SCVs across to the side here. Beautiful job by Sickness to keep some of these Stalkers alive. Now warping more in. He's doing a great job with that Warp Prism. Can you imagine this thing with an extra 60 shields? It will stay alive a lot longer. And now trying to push this off to the side, chucking those Stalkers inside and dropping them off the cliff there. Like it's a crazy sort of cliff movie or something like that. I don't know, I got nothing for that. But there is those Stalkers just getting away now. Warp Prism just switching into pylon mode to try and get some more units into the mix, and Immortal just rocking up. And this is has been a very cool strategy here from Sickness. What he has done, have a look at the economy here. Only 14 SCVs. We've of course got a couple of them in the gas, only 1 in that gas and 3 over here. But now 30 probes there for Sickness, so it's not as if he is skimped off on his own economy at the moment here. Just trying to keep these units off to the side. You really don't want to push them too far into the main base. And again, supply blocking Tobacco there. He's going to try and use these Marines to fend off the rest of this attack force. Is taking a couple of them out. Takes out a lot of those Stalkers there. There are some Zealots now in the mix there. The Banshee up in the sky is not going to be able to do too much damage, I wouldn't think, but he has been able to fend off this attack for the moment. But just look at that economy again, is sitting at 15 SCVs to the 30 probes of Sickness. Again, still just powering out a lot of units. Another Immortal is on the way. We've got 2 on the ground already, and the Banshee force now finally coming across. Look at this micro from Sickness, dropping the Stalkers out before the Banshees can hit, keeping alive 2 of those Stalkers. That was fantastic work by Sickness there to keep just at least 2 of those alive. I believe he lost 1, but it was still just awesome micro to see from our Protoss player here. Now trying to come across the ridge there with the Warp Prism, dropping off a couple of these Stalkers, perhaps going to warp in a few more as well. Warping in 1 Zealot, that's all he's got at the moment here. He's going to try and send this in and take out some of these Banshees. Is going to get 1 perhaps. Yes, he does get it. Now pulling out with that Warp Prism. This Warp Prism is somehow still alive. That is beautiful work, considering that this is not in patch 1.4 with the shield buff for the Prisms. But now trying to come across the side again. to this side position here, dropping off the Stalkers. They're going to be able to shoot at this reactor here. If he can take that out, that'll be really nice to stem the production of those Marines, but just keeping everything alive in beautiful, beautiful work there. From Sickness. A tank now off to the side will be able to help defend. A Marine is just hanging out at the main base. There's natural there, and a probe taking out the Marine that was trying to do a bit of investigating here at the natural expansion. That is not something you see every day, but we now have 3 Immortals in the mix here. We've got an extra one that's going to hang out here for the moment. A couple of Zealots and some Stalkers now on the ground as well for Sickness. He is in a massive lead at the moment here. If you consider the sort of the lead that he's in, he's currently sitting at 68 supply to 51. Again, Tobacco is supply blocked, only sitting on 21 harvesters to the 31 of Sickness, and I believe we just saw a tank snipe there with those Immortals in the prism there. That was a beautiful maneuver there. I'm a bit surprised he hasn't actually done that a little bit before, but now dropping the Immortals off, they're going to have a little bit of a tea party here with the rest of the forces just hanging out at the moment. But it looks as if we've got more Banshees coming in. They don't have Cloak yet. Tobacco has not been able to kick up his research into any sorts of tech really at the moment. He's just now getting another Banshee out. He's got combat shields now on the way. This Warp Prism still hanging around, just being quite annoying, dropping off a couple of Immortals, sniping off a reactor. Beautiful work there with those Immortals just to make sure that they can be utilized like that. You can imagine in patch 1.4 with the range buff, they'll be able to do a lot more damage. They can probably, I would say from here, hit that Rax, which would actually be something a bit dangerous to contend with. But now slowly dropping over forces is Tobacco. He's got a decent little bioforce here. The combat shields are not done. Stim is not done. That is a key part of this particular engagement, which will probably come up in just a second. We do have the forces of Sickness just hanging out the front. He's currently sitting at 88 supply to the 67 of Tobacco, and now he's going to have to contend with his bioforce inside his base. Doesn't know that it's there just yet, as we can see here, but he is going to be aware of it in short time. The combat shields are probably just about done, I would say. Yeah, they are on the way. Trying to rebuild some of his tech is Tobacco. He's just getting up a couple of those units there. Now noticing with the Observer that these forces are coming across through the side. Blink is done for these Stalkers. If they weren't threatening enough, they now have Blink, and with some good micro, which of course we do see from Sickness, he should be able to keep this all alive. Sniping out the medevac in the sky that actually was full of units, and all of these forces going down from Tobacco. Just beautiful targeting there by Sickness, taking out the medevac, taking out the Banshees, and that is going to be game because there is simply nothing left for Tobacco, and just picking off the rest of the Banshees and the forces, and that is it. Beautiful game there from Sickness. We saw a great little elevator strat there, just seeing that you can use the prism like many Terrans actually use a medevac, where you sort of sit it off the cliff here, put units inside, and then just continue to drop them off. That is actually some beautiful micro and beautiful utilization of those units, and just doing a lot of harassment, keeping his opponent in the dark as well, and just taking out the game with some beautiful macro at the end. So great job by Sickness there. We'll see if we can grab some more games of this kid in his fine fashion that he does his play, and give a little bit of something else to think about when you're playing your Protoss games. So hopefully you enjoyed that one. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.